BBC's World Have Your Say. Of course, we're talking about the death of Colonel Gaddafi. We've had calls from over 50 countries in the past 45 minutes. In the last couple of minutes, some of you in Finland, France, Zambia, Somalia, the Netherlands and Gambia have called up. Here's a tweet from Wanjiku in Denmark who says, Gaddafi died in a humane way compared to what he did to his own people. That echoes a point that Fadwa, an American Libyan student in Washington, D.C., was making. Back with us, as is Akli, a Libyan living in the north of England. And we're also joined again by Thomas in Nairobi. All three of you, have a listen to this Facebook message from Rosie, who writes, African economies were growing because of the loans from Gaddafi. Now he's dead, the IMF can come and steal from us again. He loved Africans. May his soul rest in peace. And I have to tell all of you, I hosted World Have Your Say on BBC World Service Radio yesterday. We had so many comments from African listeners saying he provided prosperity, stability, and he prioritised Africa above the interference and the interests of the richer Western world. Thomas, do you agree with that point of view?
I strongly agree with that. You know, that you can even remember when in power, Gaddafi led the African countries in largely for the interests and the agenda of African Union. And again, by and large, he boosted the socioeconomic income of many households in Libya by investing back the revenue gained from the resources like oil. And again, he strongly supported the establishment of an African Union build that could uphold sovereignty of African, and what has largely been abused maybe by the dominant Western and developed states. He largely supported an establishment of a strong institution in Africa that would support the role of Africa worldwide. Okay, so you're giving us a long list of things he did for Africa. Fadwa and Akli, let's bring you in here. Fadwa first, what would you say to Thomas?
Yeah, first of all, I live in Egypt, not in America. I was raised and brought up in Egypt. Okay, but the thing, let me ask him a question. Is he Libya's president and telling us the advantages he did to Africa? For God's sake, there isn't one good hospital in Libya, one good school. Look at Libya's infrastructure. This is one of the world's most rich countries, and he's telling us what he did to Africa. So he might as well go rule like a country in Africa. Whoever wants him can take him. He did nothing to us. He only stole our money, and I don't know what defense. Like, okay, yeah, go ahead and love him if he did good to you, but it's also our right to hate him and not want him, and it's the Libyans get to choose their fate. No one gets to choose the what Libyans should do. The Libyans killed
Thomas,
him.
do you want to respond?
I may want to say at this point, from a sub-Saharan point of view, is that it's a society that's been with corruption and lawlessness. But then largely the incomes in our society are low, but at some point it's probable that Gaddafi largely invested what he got out of revenues and what his system and from the resources like oil. But again, we should remember that Africa has remained to be so vulnerable to the Western intervention, and that has largely undermined any attempts by a sovereign African state to establish mechanisms that can enhance growth and development. And yes, that has largely gone unattended.
Akli, let's bring you in.
Before I answer this question, I'd like to bring this point because it's very important in the history of Libya. As you know, the Tuareg have been accusing since the beginning of this revolution. Before yesterday, the day these dictators have been captured, one of the top ministers in the TNC was accusing the Tuareg about hiding Gaddafi and sheltering him in the desert. But thanks for God, everyone now knows the reality. Gaddafi has nothing actually. He did nothing good actually for Libya except...
Akli, let me interrupt you because I appreciate that you want to state clearly that not all Tuareg supported Gaddafi, and you've done that clearly, but time is short. Tell me, do you see him as a great African leader, someone who fended off the interference of the West?
Not at all. I see him as a great dictator and despised person ever I have met or even ever heard. He deceived to go to hell, actually. That's the only thing. But I wasn't agree, actually, the way he killed. Everyone have many questions, actually, to ask him. And among a lot of people, of Libyans and many people in the world have many questions to this dictator. But the way he is died, actually, it looks like someone has revenge on him. All of us have revenge, but we won't ask him the questions that we need to ask. As you know, he killed many Libyans.
I don't think anyone's going to dispute that, actually. The opportunity to ask Colonel Gaddafi questions is certainly gone. To Fadwa in Washington, D.C., Thomas in Nairobi, Ackley in the north of England, thank you very much to all of you. Thanks as well to the hundreds of you who have called. We'll speak to more of you on World Have Your Say Extra in an hour and a half or so. Do stay in touch through facebook.com/World Have Your Say. I'll speak to you very soon. Goodbye.